I'm going to explain how we determine our innate energy and how we can use that knowledge to establish connections with people in our lives. WMH 109 has created a plug-in system which symbolizes our innate energy using the 5 elements, making it easy to see how we can plug in or make connections with others and the timing energy in our environment. Everything we do is influenced by the 5 elements. The 5 elements philosophy is felt in feng shui, Chinese astrology, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and all kinds of foods, objects, behaviors, and emotions you'll find categorized within the 5 elements. They're taken both literally and metaphorically. Naturally, if it's made of one of these substances, there's a correlation. However, since we categorize everything in existence as one of the 5 elements, it's not necessary for an object to be physically comprised of these materials. The representations of these elements range from personality characteristics to attitudes, behaviors, colors, shapes, and materials. Knowing the symbolism of each of the elements and how they interact, we can modify the objects around us to change the flow of energy to our benefit. We can manage our personality and the personalities of others in our environment with the knowledge of these 5 element combinations. The 5 elements can both help and hinder each other. The creative cycle shows how they help each other. Earth forges out metal in terms of minerals. Metal creates water when heated or cooled. Water feeds wood. Wood fuels fire, and fire burns things down to earth. The destructive cycle shows how the 5 elements hinder each other. Earth dams up water. Water puts out fire. Fire melts metal. Metal can break wood, and wood can go through earth, no problem. So we can see how the 5 elements can be manipulated in our environment in terms of creating balance. We should add to the weakest of the elements that we have and withdraw the elements that are in abundance in our life. If that's not possible, at least we can have insight into the energies that make us feel a certain way. For example, the earth element creates stability and a foundation. So a lack of the earth element could mean we could have some sort of anxiety or nervousness in our attitude. Yin and Yang is also part of the 5 elements philosophy in that it divides them and gives them a reflection. Yin and Yang is about the duality of the universe, the polar opposites. Without Yin, there can be no Yang, and without Yang, there is no Yin. This is a concept that nothing exists on its own, but rather is only whole with an opposite reflection. Yin things are soft, passive, yielding, slow, the night, the moon represent femininity and even numbers. Yang things are hard, aggressive, focused, fast, the day, the sun, and representative of masculinity and odd numbers. So here are the 5 elements with their yin and yang polarities added in, creating 10. I won't say them all out loud, but you can go ahead and look at the handouts that we've given to you, and you can look at some of the 5 element correlations. Colors, materials, shapes, personality characteristics, behaviors, directions, locations, even body organs or functions are all representative of the 5 elements. So if there's an imbalance physically, it may be reflected in one of those areas of the body. So let's talk a little bit about how we can use the 5 elements to determine the timing energy in our environment through numbers and colors. The Chinese sexagenary cycle is an ancient timekeeping method that combines the also ancient heavenly stems and earthly branches into components of time. These components total 60 in number and can be used to measure all time frames from minutes to years. 109 Jade Emperor has overlaid this cycle into a calendar that can be used to apply to any time period, past, present, and future, and to see how our energy measures up to the timing in our environment. Our study doesn't foretell the future, therefore, but instead identifies future energy based on the calendar and the clock, and therefore we can make choices accordingly and take action when the energy fits ours, or maybe when it doesn't. This is what the heavenly stems and earthly branches look like. And to a novice, it would look kind of confusing. Even the pinyin, zi, shou, yin, is very confusing for English speakers. So what 109 Jade Emperor has done is made it simple through using colors and numbers. So here are our heavenly stems and earthly branches using the color and number correlation that is related to these stems and branches. The stems were used to measure days or weeks. The branches were used to measure months or 12 increments of time. These sequences are used, these are ancient Chinese timekeeping methods to track all things that flow with the measure of time. Again, 60 pairings complete one cycle. Now this 5-element correlation, again, is not a willy-nilly association. These elemental representations are historically correlated to each of these components. We've just made them more pronounced in describing the characteristics of each item. So here's your stems and branches again. There are 10 stems and 12 branches. And so when they repeat again, there's obviously a 2 decimal differentiation. And so because of this, you'll find that there's only even numbers and odd numbers paired together. You'll never have an even and an odd pairing. So here's the complete Chinese sexagenary cycle, 60 components. Starts in 1924, and the next 60-year component beginning would be 1984. The Chinese representations up top are jiazi, which is kind of hard to understand. So again, using numbers and colors, here's 109 Jade Emperor's representation of the sexagenary cycle. Again, starts with the Yang wood, which is the beginning of the solar calendar, or spring, which is a February representation. And the first zodiac animal is rat, which represents the solar calendar and the beginning of the 11 to 1 time frame, which is 12 o'clock. So it's the first solar representation. So 3-1 is the beginning of the sexagenary cycle. So now that we know kind of how numbers and colors represent the timing aspects of our lives, let's see how we can identify our innate personality using stems and branches. Here's a person's body source code, which is made up of 4 stems and 4 branches, which represent the year, month, day, and hour of birth. Again, these components are related to the Chinese sexagenary cycle. The cycle rotates in a yearly basis, a monthly basis, a daily basis, and an hourly basis. A lot of insight can be gathered by studying our body source code using the 5 elements. It's from this base structure that we attempt to match with other people and their elements in our environment. And this elemental symbolism in spaces and directions of decor of all kind can help us manage the energy flow in our environment to our benefit. Here's a different person's body source code, just to keep you guys on your toes a little bit. This person's body source code is not as varied as the previous one. They've only got Yin and Yang earth, Yin and Yang wood, and Yin and Yang metal represented. So only 6 of the 10 elements are represented here. But what I want to point out is the most important element of your 8 body source code elements is your day stem. It holds the most revealing personality characteristics in your 8 components, is your day stem. Go ahead and cut it. To make our ability to connect with these elements visual, 109 Jade Emperor has created a plug-in system. The polarity of the elements, Yang and Yin, are represented by plugs and outlets. Yang a plug and Yin an outlet. 2 of the same elements with opposite polarity symbolize a perfect match, and as we've learned, the elements have special relationships with one another. And if you plug them in with each other, the electricity will flow. It's called making a connection. Our website allows us to check our connectivity among friends, family, colleagues, even strangers. Our feng shui applications allow us to check our energy with clothing and the timing in our environments, in our home and our workplace to better maximize the energy to our benefit. So here's an example of a body source code using the plug-in system. It's important to note that like elements with opposite polarities in a person's body source code plug into each other and create mature energy. And so it's as if you have a yin and yang reflection, a whole reflection of a particular element if you have a yin and yang of both. And so in this person's body source code, they have mature wood energy, a yin and a yang of wood, both. So it creates a whole energy of wood for them. And so that's how the body source code works. And now, so they only have 6 more outlets, plugs and outlets open to share with others. But they don't need any wood. They have plugged in wood already. So that's kind of how the body source code plug and outlet system works. So before I show you an example of someone else's body source code, let's just go ahead and go to the 109 Gen Emperor site really fast and look at that same page. So here's the 109 Gen Emperor website, and this is my body source code that you're looking at here in the top left-hand corner. All right, so what you can do on this website, which is kind of fun, is that you can bring up your own profile. Whoop. That was my own profile. You can bring up other people's profiles. So this is your friends list. I just clicked on all these people here. This is your friends list. And so this will bring up the people that you've requested to be friends with or that are friends with you already. And so you can kind of check. These people are pending approval here at the top. And you got people at the bottom that are already on my friends list. And so that's how the friends list works. Okay. Now if I want to check my connectivity with any of my friends or family members and check my body source code against theirs, what I can do is I can click on this little plugin with the person next to it, and it brings up the plugin system. First is my body source code, which shows my body source code in heaven path, in earth path, which is ages 30 through 60, so I gain extra plugs and outlets as I grow and develop and learn things and experience things. And then my heaven path is ages 60 through 90. And as you can see, I went from 8 components to here I have 21 components. And so that means I have the ability not only to plug in yin and yang elements that are the same and have more whole energy myself, I also have more plugs and outlets to connect with other people. So I become kind of a more varied person. I have more variety and more ability to connect with other people as I get older, which is natural. And so as I scroll down below, I can see my friends list. And I can sort my friends by name. If I click right here, I can sort them by name. I can sort them by destiny number, which is my body source code lined up in a row of numbers starting with my personal element. Or I could identify my friends or organize my friends by AC connections, which is kind of an overall motivation or title about a relationship between 2 people. And I can also organize my friends list by DC connections, which are the connections I have in heaven path, earth path, and human path with each of the people that I am friends with. So you can see here Martina Wong at the top is a friend who I've entered. I have a lot of plug-ins with her early on, a little bit less in earth path, and then I don't have any with her in heaven path. But it's not true with all people. Normally as you gain experience and you meet more people, you have the ability to plug in to a greater degree as you get older. And that's reflected here with some of these other people on my friends list. And so you can also categorize your friends. If I go back to, I don't want to go back there. If I go back to my friends list and look at the friends that are already that I'm already connected with, I can categorize them as family members or colleagues, and therefore I could maybe compare myself with other people that I work with every day, and I can take all my friends out. Or I can put all my family members in and see how I compare with my family members and not so much my working partners. So it's just a different way to organize who you're comparing your body source code with, other people's body source code. We also have a area where you can post information about the 5 elements, Yin and Yang, or any of the information that we're trying to tackle here at 109 Jade Emperor. And it becomes a way to connect with others. It becomes a social networking website. And that's what we're hoping to do, is to create a place where people can have fun working with the 5 elements as they discover their body source code and discover how the 5 elements work in a timing sense in their lives and in their environment. So thank you for coming. I appreciate you spending the time discovering our 109 Jade Emperor website. Thank you.